now it's the post-match Erdinger after Liverpool have beat Prague by 5 Erdingers to 1 of their Erdingers.
No Erdingers for them, lad. They're shit. They're on like fucking Carlin or something. No Erdinger.
Show them the way to go home. They're tired and they want to go to bed because they're only half an Erdinger.
They are not even half an Erdinger, mate. They don't even get an Erdinger 0-0, them, lad. They get an Erdinger none.
To the boys to bed. It's slightly surprisingly refreshing than it is 8.0, lad. But anyway, surprisingly amazing tonight where the Reds, they did the business. A couple of little injury concerns ahead of Sunday that we'll talk about in a minute. But first of all, Craig, you know, they just absolutely did the business and more. You know, I wasn't expecting them to put the tie to bed tonight, but they did. You know, it's one where, you know, next week we can really sort of have fun with it now because 5-1 through, brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I saw before the game, I saw like a little bit of concern around the players that he was starting, and you know, we obviously see Kanate go off, so it's easy with hindsight to say, oh, we shouldn't have started him, but you know, essentially that fixture next week becomes a nothing really. You can play whoever you want in that one. I just thought they were brilliant. They were so clinical, and you know, there was a couple of really, really special performances. I thought Darwin Núñez, obviously, the first goal is a bit of a funny one.
Like, by the way. He gets an Erdinger.
The second one's, you know, it was a bit Fernando Torres, wasn't it? It was special. But yeah, no, a brilliant performance and a lovely I was going to say a lovely start to the week. It's not a lovely start. It's a lovely continuation of what the last 7 to 10 days have been.
Maybe even longer than that. You know, we've been brilliant for absolutely fucking ages. We might just be the best ever. Do you know what I mean? Arsenal have won 6-0. No one cares. Not who gives a fuck about City.
Since half time at Luton.
Honestly, yeah, exactly. We're flying, aren't we?
Whatever happened then, and you know, it is a night to be positive, isn't it? Because you know, there's two ways of looking at what you can do with tonight. You know, you can say you want to rest people and stuff like that. If you forget about the tie itself for a minute, you can say about resting people, but you can also say about, you know, getting confidence up. And although there's maybe 1 or 2 concerns we'll see sort of defensively in terms of knocks from an attacking point of view, I don't think we could have asked for any more in terms of like what you want, which is to go in on Sunday against a really good defence, against a team who aren't going to give you loads of chances, feeling like you're sharp as anything. And Darwin Núñez will be like, get me on the pitch now.
Yeah, to be fair, I think he's like that. He could be laid up in hospital and he'd be feeling like that. He's a monster, isn't he? But as you say, you made a good point there about being sharp as anything. Sunday, like United played them differently, didn't he? They were terrible. They spread the midfield. Whereas Liverpool, it'll be all little tiny sharp passes, wasn't it? And the likes of Szoboszlai, he's the type of player, he come on against Forest, and I've seen mixed reviews of his performance. I was in the away end, so it didn't matter. Once Darwin had scored, it didn't actually matter. But I reckon the likes of Szoboszlai is thinking, yeah, I just feel like I'm a little bit more switched on now for Sunday. So him and McAllister's, well, I imagine it'll be Sunday. And all of them are just thinking, I am fully up. Maybe Szoboszlai could be excused for being a little bit, maybe not quite as up to it as McAllister and Endo. But I just reckon, because he come on 55, so he's had like nearly, I think he had 5 minutes in.
Gets a goal as well, which is nice for him.
So he's now ready to play those little triangles where you've got to be bum 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 bum, and that's the key. I think match sharpness, people speak about it, and obviously there's different aspects for different players, but I think if you're a midfielder playing against their midfield on Sunday, what you really need is the ability to pop that ball and just move. And I think the little half he's had now, he had about 20 minutes against Forest, I think it was. That's if he's coming in cold to that game against City, you'd probably still put him in because he's so good. But the fact that he's had a little build up, then a little half, and then he's got his little goal at the end. When
you play as quick as us, it's about like that instinct. It's about acting an instinct and have the confidence in yourself, in your body, particularly after having not played for a while. So I think you're right. I think that there's still little bits tonight where you're looking at him going, you know, you don't see the match sharpness. You're not going to. That's why he gets the 3 minutes.
That's what's called match sharpness, isn't it? You know what I mean? You don't just get it. Yeah, exactly. You don't get it in training, do you?
Yeah, it's just, and it's a massive positive having him come back, particularly whenever it feels as if you have to trade players out and bring them back. As we get someone back, you have to, you know, Gomez needs to get injured or whatever. I know we don't know at this stage, but you know, having him back will be massive. You know, having
Gomez as an injury, are you? I'm having him as a planned substitution. I'm not having Kanate as an injury. I know we went down. But I'm having that as you were coming off in 5 minutes anyway, so what's the point of even risking anything? Because he walked off absolutely fine. The fact that at the time that he went off and Virgil come on, they also made the other substitution to bring Szoboszlai on. Yeah. That says to me it was more of what's the point in wasting one of our substitution slot things and bringing you off and then in 5 minutes bringing Szoboszlai on. I think that was just more of we basically already done the job, haven't we? Let's just get you off now. You go and have a nice little rub or whatever it is you get in the changes when you're a little bit injured. Listen, I might just be trying to talk myself into it, but I reckon that substitution for Konate, sometimes when he's gone off, you've gone, oh, that might be a bad idea. But he did. It didn't look it, did it? And he walked off, not even gingerly. He just sort of walked off. The fact he's done a double substitution, I'm not worried about that. I reckon he'll be signed for Sunday.
Yeah, it does seem strange that they don't just do the two of them at half time, Craig, but I don't know whether they just didn't want to disrupt it sort of too much. The goal for Bradley one looked massively planned to me, and I think, he's probably in a bit two minds about, who's going to play sort of on the Sunday. Right back, obviously, his hand might be forced that the Konate one is one that's going to keep him out, but, it does seem strange to me that, he maybe doesn't do Konate and Virgil the same as he did in that.
I just think they were, sorry to interrupt.
No, you're right.
I just think that they were planned for 55 or maybe 60, and then as soon as he goes down, they just go, well, we'll just do it now. Yeah. Save any arse and out. So that what I'm getting at with my point is they didn't want to do him at half time, but they actually wanted to do him at 55. Because he's gone down on 50, they split the difference and just sort of, come on, lads, just come off and get it sorted. So, I genuinely, I'm not worried about that one. So I think that 5 minutes later, you'd have seen the same double substitution, in my opinion, is what I'm getting.
No, I think you probably would have, but I think from a defensive point of view, I think, you can shuffle things around and make things happen. For me, it was always about, making sure we get a good midfield out there on Sunday. And listen, maybe I should be focusing more on this win, but, Sunday isn't in all our minds. But for me, it was all about, can we get a good midfield out? Because they're so strong in midfield, and it looks like we're going to now, like you say. Well, what do you said? McAllister and Osaboslai looks like it's going to be it, which is great. And then up top, you want that firepower, don't you? You want them flying, and Diaz got his goal, and I thought looked sharp all night. Nunes gets two, and they're absolutely brilliant, and his confidence is sky high. Then Mo, I think Mo gets one. Fuck knows what that was disallowed.
That was a Diaz style. When you look back at it, you're like, he's just nowhere near offside. It doesn't even look close. And you can have the angles, but that looks like a cock-up to me, that one.
Yeah, no, it does. But the point is that they're all sharp and there, and to go and he could maybe start Gakpo and have one of them on the bench and the other one to come on, or Gakpo to come on. But I've always thought if we've got 4 of the 5, listen, you'd love 5 of the 5, you'd love Jota as well, but I always think if we've got 4 of them, we've got one to sort of hold back. I think we're a match for, we're more than a match. We're a fucking threat to anyone, and that includes Man City, and they're all there, and that's great.
Massively, and you see that from the strikers tonight. You see the 2 Nunes goals, you see the Salah one, you see the fact that Diaz is a deflection, but he still gets on the score sheet. And for the midfield, I thought McAllister was so good tonight when he played. I just thought as a
sharp, by the way. He's all about match sharpness. He looks like he's seeing it, he's seeing everything in slow motion, or he's 5 seconds ahead or something. It's unbelievable.
I think he's got is it 6 goals and assists in the past 6 games? He's on it. He's incredible, and I knew what we were getting in terms of going forward, from an attacking sense, and obviously he's been playing in the 6 quite often this season, but what I didn't realise was just how good he is at recovering the ball, and how good he is in tight spaces, getting out of it, and if you can't get out of it, winning a foul. He's so good at winning fouls. You lose count of how many times it happens in a game. He's just brilliant. He's the sign of the season for me at 35 million. It's ridiculous.
Listen, he might be the sign of the last 5 or 6.
Maybe behind Endo at 16 million.
To be fair, Endo had half a stinker in the first half. I thought I was a bit but then second half he's brilliant. I've done absolutely everything right. On McAllister, I think you're starting to look at him and think, in a game like that today, it's like having Salah on there, where you go, Salah just, he shouldn't really be playing in this competition. It's like when you're a kid and you bring a ringer in for one game and he just stand out so much. That's always been Salah in this competition. I'm thinking, Salah is the epitome of a Champions League player, and McAllister, different role, but exactly the same. His quality, he's so far ahead of every other midfielder on that pitch today. And when you consider we've had Szoboszlai on there as well, the way he plays football, and as you said, the awareness of not just what's happening around him, but what state the game's in at the moment that he's doing his things. He's £35 million for him will go down as one of Liverpool's greatest ever signings, I reckon. Yeah. No, he's just playing so well at the moment as well. Craig, it reminds me of, it's a bit of a cricket analogy, bear with me, but fuck the Tories. when you bat him well, people don't know, when you bat him well, any cricket players, you say I'm seeing it like a beach ball, the ball just feels bigger, and you always say, oh yeah, I'm seeing it big, I'm seeing it like a beach ball, and that's how he's playing football at the moment. It's like he's playing it on an easier setting.
getting. So all of a sudden, he's like, everything's just more straightforward, boom, just passes and stuff that maybe looks a little bit more difficult for other players, normal players, you know, whenever he's pressed or something. You know, he's harrying, he wins that penalty, you know, early. It just feels like he's making... He's playing so well and he's so confident that everything looks easier than what it is.
I think that's big for him though, because you think about his trajectory and what it's been to get here. He's at Brighton, he moves to Brighton, and it's first season, it's finding his way in the Premier League, and then he sort of builds the confidence and he becomes one of the best midfielders in it. He obviously wins the World Cup, which will do, you know, wonders for him walking into that Liverpool dressing room in the summer.
I did go to the World Cup.
Okay, I forgot you don't mention World Cups. Shut up, you boring bitch. But you know, that does wonders for him winning that competition when he walks into the Liverpool changing room. But then it just feels like now, after sort of 5 months, he's now feeling like he's found the confidence to be one of the main lads, particularly whenever so many of them have been out injured. No, he had that short time, but you know, the amount he's getting involved now from an attacking sense in comparison to the previous sort of 25 games for Liverpool is massive, and we're going to be really reliant on him and players like him over the next 3 months to be brilliant in those moments. The moment that we've seen at the weekend is just, you know, that is unbelievable, that in a moment that means so much, where there's so much pressure and so little time, for him to not just swing it in, from actually to take a moment, turn, look up, find him perfectly with the pass and Nunes to score. You know, we're going to need that from him, but you know, he's everything we wanted him to be from attacking sense, but also he's just so complete in what he's able to offer in the six and in front of Endo if he has to be.
Well, that's the fact that he's moved forward from the six. I was about to say, I think that goal segues nicely into giving really positive feedback to Endo, because McAllister, when he was playing in the six, I think people were watching when he was doing a fine job. He wasn't out of place by any stretch of the imagination, but anyone was watching him, you just knew that there was more to come, and there was more to come. And then when Endo's dropped into the number 6 role, he's just freed him up, hasn't he? And that speaks volumes for how good Endo has been for Liverpool. I was one of the ones who was a little bit cynical about him, because you're looking and we lose out on Caicedo, and listen, I know
everyone was to an extent.
But it's natural, isn't it? Yeah. Because you've gone from 115 million for Caicedo, who, by the way, you've got to remember, he's playing alongside McAllister last year, and I think, listen, give props to him. I think it was only Neil who kept saying, didn't he? People keep talking about Endo, but McAllister's there, and we obviously has the buyout clause, so we take him. But when Endo's dropped into there, it just freed McAllister up, and I think McAllister probably has a lot of trust in Endo. He just knows, I don't have to have, it's not like I'm doing this job and a bit of that job. He's like, oh no, this is just my job now, because me mate there has absolutely got it for us. And as I said, I didn't think it was his greatest first half today. Endo's second half, he's unbelievable. Yeah. And the fact that he's facilitating players like McAllister, and I think probably not just like McAllister, specifically McAllister, I think as a little duo, they work so well together, don't they? They've got very defined roles, while also being able to do a bit of everything, and that it really suits McAllister to be able to go, sound okay, well if that's sorted, watch what I can do here. And as you say, he steps forward into that. It's almost like because it's weird to describe now, because the 3 midfielders and then 3 attackers, it used to be like a sort of a Peter Beardsley role, where Harvey Elliott plays in there as well, to be fair, but McAllister just steps into that a little bit. He's not quite in the attacking bit, but he's very much got his eye on putting that ball into the attacking bit, and what it just drags other people out. McAllister, for me, as you said before, Craig, unbelievable signing, and the fact that Endo's allowed him to do that, you couldn't ask for a better, like, for, what was he, 17 million quid or something? It's an unbelievable signing.
Yeah, he's been absolutely fantastic. I made this competition his own, of course, in terms of, you know, he was where he was getting his games earlier in the season, and where he cemented himself as a Liverpool option, and now he's just playing every game, every big game, and he's been absolutely brilliant. But I mean, on a negative note, do you want to apologise from the nation of Northern Ireland for Conor Bradley's own goal?
Honestly, the worst thing's come out of Northern Ireland since fucking Andy Bell.
Andy, if you watch
his first touch, you know what, it was some finish, to be fair, wasn't it? Like, there was a part of me that within me like wanted to celebrate it because Conor Bradley had scored another goal.
Now he's back down to 0 now.
That's how it works.
Yeah, it was one of those where like you'd blink and you'd miss it, wouldn't you? Like if you'd gone for a piss at late in half time, you come back.
Well, I think there's a few of our lads stumbling in from the back.
I hadn't even moved from the chain. I didn't see it. I was still missing jabbing
away. But I thought we handled, like there was a sort of brief 5 minutes. I mean, I think it's worth noting that there was various times this night tonight during the game whenever it looked as if Prague were in like quite a
crazy
bit. Like
open,
it was a mad game, a really really enjoyable game. But mad at the back. You know, we looked open and we looked like, you know, a defence of lots of different parts, rather than that cohesive unit that we're so used to. And maybe that's because there were so many different players playing in those 4 positions tonight. But I think Liverpool handled that sort of 10 minutes pretty well. I thought Keevan Keller was brilliant. First half, there's an unbelievable save, and again there was a couple more in the second. I think, you know, he's one of the big winners in this past 2 weeks for Liverpool, particularly because there's no real timeline on Alisson being back. You know, for his own confidence. You know, earlier in this campaign, there's one where you're looking at it and you think you should save it. There's a couple of performances where you're like, well, you know, is he, like, what level is he? Well, I
think even worse than that. I think he was at the point where I was thinking, he's not good enough. It's like genuine. Like,
even as a number 2, maybe at one point, because his form was so poor.
Exactly. It's easy to be positive in hindsight, isn't it? And I knew he'd be okay. At the time, I didn't. I felt like he's struggling here, and if we lost Alisson for any sustained period, I was really worried about it. And I think that speaks to the fact that he's probably, when he's getting in initially, he's had a bad time. Speaks to the confidence that he's got in his own abilities. He's a quiet lad, isn't he? But you can just see he believes in what he's doing. And for him to perform the way he has done, as you said, the last 2 or 3 weeks, unbelievable. Like, so, if Alisson's making them saves, we're all probably on a show like this going, good job, we've got the best one of them in the world. Yeah, and Kelleher has got you. Listen, we're going into Sunday, and I think we'd all give our left arm for it, and Alisson to just come out of nowhere and play, wouldn't we? But I don't think anyone's going, oh, he's the weak link there, because he just isn't anymore, is he?
He can't be going on in better form, can he? And he must feel that as well. He must feel like, I'm going into this Man City game in the form of my life, and he's not conceded a goal from an opposition player since that first half.
Conor fucking Bradley.
He's not conceded a goal from someone who isn't Craig's mate since that first half of Lewin, and that's some run. We've won trophies in that time and all sorts.
And it's not just like he hasn't conceded them because we've been phenomenal at the back, which, by the way, we absolutely are. He is, like, he made a few today, like the one you mentioned before. He goes going across his goal and he shifts his weight and he tips it. And to be fair, it's still going to go in the back of the net. And it's Joe Gomez who is off the line, doesn't he? But there was one just after they got their one back at the very start of the second half, and the lad just goes across the goal. And it's the easiest thing in the world for him is just to slide out of his feet and try and, like, do anything for it. And the lad just dinks him. But he doesn't. He stays up, and the lad has to make a decision, and the lad tries to put it underneath him, and he just makes the save. And I just thought, that's a goalkeeper there who has got belief in himself. Because if he has got a little bit of self-doubt, he's thinking, I'll just make myself massive and throw myself here. But he doesn't. He stays big, and he makes the striker make the decision. And then when the striker takes the shot, he just saves it. Honestly, I thought he was absolutely excellent.
To play the way he plays, you have to have a level head on your shoulders. You have to have, like, that mentality. Like, for him to be as brave as he is as a goalkeeper, particularly with his feet, there can't be that even that little bit of doubt, because that little bit of doubt means you're not acting instinct. And then that's whenever you do make mistakes or you misplace a pass, and you know what happens when a goalkeeper makes a mistake. So, you know, I'm made up for him. I disagree slightly. I wasn't looking at him and thinking, like, oh, I'm not sure if there's a future here for him at Liverpool based on the earlier performances in the season, but I certainly wasn't sure of what his level was or what his ceiling was.
I was more being honest with the fact that I'm a dickhead, you know. To be honest, like,
no, I think I was wondering. We'll bring some comments in a minute, Craig, if you just want to have a little look. But I was just wondering whether maybe there's just a bit of a shelf life of being a number 2, because I think when you first come in, you're obviously keen as anything. You've played a lot for, like, you know, even 21's football, but you've played sort of regularly, and then you're coming in and you're made up. And I think the longer that goes on, it can be a bit hard mentally, but also from a rhythm point of view. And I was just thinking, is it best for him to go on, and he'll probably go up a level wherever he goes, and us to get sort of someone else in who's got that keenness again? But something about this run, I think, you know, I was worried earlier in the season. I was worried about him not being able to get to the level what we'd seen before. Now he's gone up a level.
100%.
He's a better 100%. Keeper now than when we saw him a year or so ago when he was winning those other finals. A couple of years ago now, he was winning those other, because he's like the decisions he's making and all that, and it's just like his presence. I think his presence is putting everyone off apart from Conor Bradley.
Well, listen, no one could stop Conor Bradley.
I'm getting off.
Because he's unbelievable, isn't he?
explodes.
The ghost of Andy Eaton's just killed us there. But yeah,
Is it back?
The point I made before, is I could never repeat it because it was absolute gold. So what you need to do is you'll have to rewind it and do some lip reading because I swear to you.
There's still no sound, is there?
Me going like that. That's a bit of a delay, though.
Can you hear us? Someone say yes in the comments. Yeah. But anyway, Kevin Keller, fucking boss.
Yeah. Any
What
comments?
a point that was.
Any comments before Kev ruined the sound?
I'll be honest, not loads. There was a debate around the colour of Kevin Kelleher's hair, whether it was blonde or ginger, someone said.
He's blonde.
Yeah, he's definitely blonde.
He's Irish though, isn't he? So he'll have a bit of ginger in him.
Someone, we broke the news to someone that Alisson wasn't playing on Sunday. They thought he was just being rested. Fucking hell, it's a big rest. Big rest.
That's like that fella who was at Steve Graves who said, when the fella said, who's this new number 8?
Oh, yeah.
Navigator. Told you I get Navigator in, didn't I?
See what he's like, see what he's saying.
Shite.
Mostly City chat. I'll be honest, that's everything, John.
We did
To
a
be
fair
fair,
bit of chat.
listen, we're talking about the game, but that's all we really give a fuck about tonight, isn't it?
Yeah.
The team comes out, and I think there was like a few schools of thought, wasn't there, going, just play all the kids and rest everyone. But as we said at the start, go ahead, have we got a good comment there?
No, someone just said it's Conor Bradley's fault for loss of sound.
Conor Bradley and Andy Heaton, what a terrible combo. No, but when the team come out, I think a few, like in our WhatsApp group, Josh said, didn't he? He said, that's a bit strong for me. But then he followed it up with, are these any good? So that would suggest that maybe his focus wasn't fully on Sparta Prague tonight. And
or he's not watching as much Czech League
as he makes out that he is. But I think we've had pretty much the perfect game as long as the Kanate thing isn't a real injury. I think we've given enough players who needed minutes to minutes, and we've given them under no pressure really. Like they played and they probably come off at the agreed upon times. Besides probably Van Dijk coming on 5 minutes early and Zabozlai coming on 5 minutes early. And listen, Sparta Prague in the UEFA Cup, it's great, isn't it? And we've absolutely chonked them, which is fantastic. But let's face it, Neil's been making the point at a lot of shows recently, the biggest game of our lives. It's fucking genuinely on Sunday, mate. It's enormous. Like, if we win on Sunday, we go 4 points ahead of them, and then they've got Arsenal the weekend after. And I'm almost, with them having Arsenal at home, I'm almost more confident that Arsenal might be able to do something there because
good team, aren't they, Sam?
Well, I wouldn't go that far. But at home, Arsenal will come out a little bit, and I think Arteta will understand that he probably needs to be a little bit more conservative in the way he goes for them. And sometimes City, they just don't like that. And playing against a team with an outball, like United the other day had no outball. Arsenal will, Liverpool will. So if we can get that win honestly, if you get that win on Sunday, I'm not saying it on a live broadcast, but I think we all know what I'm fucking thinking.
No, I think what you're saying is like we've been in title races
pants
like
off.
this before.
Yeah.
Kicks on heads.
Listen, it's a no pants minimum. I'm telling you that for nothing.
I think because we've been in title races with City before, and we've been where it's neck and neck, or they're just in front, and it's always felt as if it's come down to a game at the Etihad, and we've been like, we have to win this, and we've never managed it. This time it's at Anfield, and so you feel like, well, given our record against them, you feel like if we win this, like it's a massive opportunity to lay a glove on them. That's why, like, I'm going into this game I've seen a couple of people in the comments saying that they take a draw. I'm not taking a draw now. I'm
a win so big.
I'm rolling the dice because I've been in too many title races with them before to know that a draw is not good enough, and it may well be. And look, I just feel like with so much going against us this season, we need to be the ones that take some points off them. And that Arsenal game is interesting, by the way. I've got my eye on that, but only if we beat them at the weekend.
But on the wins and must points, obviously I understand. Listen, if we draw, you'll find me in the Stanley telling everyone that was the greatest result in our history, and it's fine. But my point of view on it at the moment is we're playing a lot, and we're a club, and it's definitely a team, and we're 100% a club, and we're definitely a fan base that works on vibes. Really, when it's going well, we can whip ourselves into an absolute fury, and when that game kicks off on Sunday, Anfield will be like a fucking zoo.
Bear pit.
It'll be a joke. Do you know what I mean? You'll have like people's nans like trying to kill Guardiola. It'll be unbelievable. And I think a draw might just let a little bit of that air out. Yeah. Whereas a win just takes that to stratospheric levels, and you'll see the City like go off its head if we get that win. And that's why I think it's so important, because they've got, I think, you look through it, and the fact of the matter is, every game, as long as you're playing well, if it's not against Arsenal, it's not against Man City, is winnable.
Yeah.
Whereas the rest of the season, we haven't got to play any of them. If we beat them, I think every other team, we just go into it and just think, you might as well be Watford. We just go for it like that. Whereas a draw, I know it keeps us ahead of them, but Arsenal probably do the business against Brentford and go top. Listen, no disrespect, Sam, but I'm less worried about Arsenal. I just feel like they've got to slip in them. Whereas if we go 4 points ahead of them, and then their next game is against Arsenal, you start looking at it and thinking, oh my God, it's written in the stars. Because we had, listen, that Darwin Núñez 99th minute goal, obviously it could go on to mean nothing, but for a club like Liverpool, goals like that generally do go on to mean something more. The Sadio Mane one against Aston Villa and stuff like that. And Sunday, I'm not one of these ones who's saying a draw's all right.
No way.
Don't get me wrong, get me on Post Match on Sunday and we draw, I'm like, that's fucking result we've ever had. But going into that game, I am 110% committed to just terrifying every one of them players when they've got the ball into just giving it back to a fucking Red King and we'll score.
100%. Everyone brave, you know, everyone on the ground, making it a bear pit, making it feral. You know, we want one of those. And beyond the first 10, 15 minutes, it has to keep going and keep going.
Imagine if we get a goal in the first 10 minutes.
You know what? And that's
I might take my off now.
That's where the team need to respond.
My man's going to be for a while.
Yeah. That's where we need. That's where we need to respond, and that's when the crowd and the players feed off each other. And we've seen what can happen against Manchester City under this manager, and what happens with Liverpool at Anfield under this manager when that happens. The Champions League game, as an example, you know, the league game in 2018. You know, there's been countless times, and what you said there is right about the Forest goal. Like we said the other day, you know, if we beat City and we do manage to go on and do the sort of the thing that I don't want to mention, but that we really, really want and we're longing for, then that goal becomes etched in history, and we can't make that not mean anything. I think that's like the big part.
See, for any other club, that could potentially mean nothing, but for us, because we are fucking mad, aren't we? I think anyone watching this obviously is one of us, so we're all fucking mental. Stuff like that happens, and you just think, I don't believe in any sort of fate or anything like that. But as soon as Darwin gets a 99th minute winner, you're like, fucking is right, that big fella. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it becomes...
Because we're fucking mad. But we proved time and time again that when things like that happen to Liverpool, like Trent's rattled them all this week, hasn't he, by saying, effectively what he said was a professional footballer's version of what we all say. No one gives a fuck about City's wins. Like, their fans might say it was the best night of my life when they won the... And it probably was. But nobody else gives a fuck. Whereas we get a goal like that, and we'll remember it forever. That's Darwin Núñez goal will be remembered forever. But then if it goes on to become a league winner thing, Darwin Núñez he'll be deified by the Liverpool fans only.
I think what you just said there as well on momentum, like this is now the time to find momentum. Like, you know, we know what the ebb and flow of a title race is like, but we're now at the fucking business end. Like, this is now the part where, you know, that we have to find that momentum and keep that momentum going. And, you know, we have momentum, but in a funny way, it's felt like sort of like patched together, hasn't it? Because of the injuries, because of the adversity, because of all of that we've been up against. But you beat City and suddenly everyone's going...
You said ebb and flow, though. The ebb was that Arsenal game. If you look back at that now, at the time it didn't feel like a massive loss, and it still doesn't. But if you look back on it now, and we'd have got the 3 points, that's huge. But in previous seasons, it felt like that type of loss happened a little bit later on, and just a little bit more letting the air out of our balloon. That's happened at a point where you can go, well, yeah, that's the back end of one group of games.
Yeah, it's more what it's done for Arsenal than what it's done for us. Yeah, like, we've won every league game since then. We've been perfect, and it's a response. It's more like, obviously, Arsenal, it's just in their season back, and they've been phenomenal since then. But, you know, for us, it's not damaged us at all. They just fucking dusted themselves down and gone on with it and beat everyone.
Well, and we're still top of the league. Do you know what I mean? We are still top of the league. And that's why, obviously, people will say the draw's okay. And listen, I can fully understand that point of view. I just know that, like, a draw would have been fine against Chelsea in 2014, wouldn't it? There was not a fucking single solitary soul in the Liverpool fucking greater city region who had that feeling going into that match. We went into that match like absolute lunatics, and you can't really blame. Brendan Rodgers should have been a bit more level-headed looking back on it.
They're us lunatics in the zoo.
But someone's nan was trying to choke him out because he was going to set the 0-0. You know what I mean?
But that's exactly the point.
Man, I was trying to chat Mourinho, lad. I don't know what your nan was up to.
But that's exactly the point. We want to, if we're laying a glove on City, it's not just laying a glove and getting the 3 points in the day. It's fucking knocking them out and making them feel like maybe this is Liverpool's season. Maybe
concentrate on the Champions League, that type of
shit. Maybe it's written in the stars. We want them to start believing. Like one of the best things about
the Klopp fairy tale.
One of the best things about under Jurgen Klopp has always been like the idea of Anfield and the power of Anfield and how he's harnessed it and how like these late winners, whether they're at Anfield or outside, feel like a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy. And the way that it used to be with United under Ferguson, well, I want them to start. I want it to be in their head at that stage. Yeah, maybe this is the one. Maybe they do get it. And Arsenal, even Arsenal, like that. My mate, he's an Arsenal fan, said to me after the Forest game the other day, he said that fucking killed me watching you do that. Now, obviously, they've gone off and won.
Yeah, but they were playing, to be fair, they were playing Sheffield United.
Yeah, but, they'll have been watching that going, fucking hell. And the more of those, and the more big moments, the more times that Liverpool, make a statement and beat Man City, whatever way you do it, whether it's 1-0, 4-0, whatever, it's going to be a statement at the weekend. That's all that matters at this moment. So it becomes the biggest. Neil's been calling every game the biggest game in Liverpool's history. This is the biggest.
To be fair, he called it from the end of last season, the big 9, and he was fucking. I was like, he's a fucking lunatic.
We were about 11th before that Leeds game, and he was like, we're winning the last 9. I was like, lad, we're not even winning tonight.
Honestly, I was like,
I drove him to Leeds. I was like, lad, we're not even winning tonight. He was like, we're going to win the last 9.
Well, beat City, and it's the Big 10.
Oof, oh,
stop it.
Do you know who's not taking a draw? By the way, Sunday, Mo Salah. Fucking no chance.
Hey, he's been kicking his feet for long enough, him, lad, he's just had the world's worst decision against him tonight, so he's in that changing room with a big shit on.
These elite footballers who just think differently. It was like the time you met Neymar in Brazil in the World Cup.
I don't like to talk about it, mate. But yeah, my mate Neymar said to me, Kev, never settle for second best.
And we never will. And I will never settle for second best when I order a pint of lager at the bar. And that's why I go for the ending. Nice one for those boys for supporting us. Great set of lads. Nice one to Quaid. Nice one to Kev. Nice one to Sam. Nice one for you for joining us. Poor comments.
And nice one to Neymar.
Kev's mate. Mo Salah is not taking a draw. He's going to win it. Up the Reds.
And Erdinger, please. Stop! Don't forget the best bit.